So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the One Point Safety Show again with myself, Scott Hartley, and my co-host Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right, Scouse?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm looking forward to this pod, actually. Got a
Yeah,
guy
me
I
too.
want to chat to, so all
Yeah,
good.
me too.
Yeah,
It's been a busy week. One of them again. The week's ticked in. I've got
yeah.
tomorrow off. Got tomorrow off
Oh, I
work.
thought, I
'Cause
thought, I thought you were
I'm
being sarcastic then.
sick
I
of
was
it.
busy week, being that there's nothing
No.
going on in the NFL, but
Oh no,
yeah.
no. In that respect, there's nothing
Yeah.
going on. You are
Yeah.
absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. But yeah, as you just suggested there, we are delighted to be joined by Aaron from the Asleep at Work podcast, who is a Lions fan. So come on, Commanders fans, bear with us. We've got someone different online, and we're just going to have a quick chat with Aaron, find out what his story is,
You say
talk about his
different.
podcast.
You say
Well, yeah,
different, but shared trauma
shared
is
trauma.
one thing
I
that
agree with
Yeah,
relates
you.
us
100%,
all.
man. Yeah, 100%.
I agree with you there, mate. I agree with you there. So yeah, we've got Aaron on for a little while, and yeah, he's going to join us for today's show, and hopefully you all enjoy it. So thank you for people who downloaded last week and listened. Numbers were up again, even though we had quite a quiet week. So yeah, we're very welcome.
Oh,
No
thanks,
news
mate.
really to talk about in Commanders Land or anything going on there. Scouts, everyone's away. The pre-season's on its way. Training camp's on its way. In 5 weeks' time, nothing's happening. Ashburn's closed, but the mic will keep rolling here, and we'll do our bits and keep you entertained each week. So, Aaron, nice to meet you, and thank you for being on the show with us today. Why did you start following the Lions then?
That's a great question. And my normal answer, my normal go-to is sucker for punishment.
Yeah.
But realistically, kind of my journey started when I was in university. I kind of did that weird kind of half university, half college, where it's a university course, but you're in like college classes. You're not sat with just a lecturer at the front rambling on at you. So we got like it was quite a small cohort, and we were all quite we all knew each other quite well. We all got on really well. Most of them were a bit older than me, and one of the guys in the cohort was a massive Broncos fan. And it kind of got throughout the year. We'd all talk about British football. I'd be there waffling on about Manchester City, and someone else would be waffling about United and whatnot. We'd all just be talking about that. But this guy, he quite liked it, but he was an NFL guy, and I kind of made it a little point because I loved him. I thought it was brilliant. Made it a little point to watch the NFL. So tried watching it for about a year. Realized I quite enjoy it. And just kind of spent a year hoping to know that I liked the sport. And then in that the kind of the off season after the first season, I watched it, which I think, if I remember rightly off the top of my head, was the 2013-14 season, might be the one. All I know is it was the one at the very end where it was, I can't remember what year it was, but the Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl. So that was my favorite. And that off season kind of said, right, I really like this. And one of the big reasons I knew I liked it was because of the final call in the game of the Seahawks Patriots, and realized
Yeah, the
me
pick.
thinking,
Yeah.
do I really like this sport? Do I really like sport? I'm not sure. Managed to watch the whole Super Bowl and was sat in my living room at 5 a.m. going, what the fucking hell are you doing? Okay, I like it now. I know I like this. And then just kind of looked into a lot of things, and I don't know if this is still appropriate to say in 2023, but I'm white. My introduction to hip hop was Eminem. That's just the blunt of it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
I
got to
see.
know
He's from
see.
Detroit,
through
isn't he? Yeah.
through Eminem, Detroit. I got to know a lot of other Detroit-based rappers. So I kind of felt an affinity to Detroit-based music. I grew up with Motown. My parents listened to Motown. Everyone listened to some form of Motown. Detroit being the home of Motown. So a musical connection, and then I've always felt Detroit is a blue collar city. It's a very, very working class, hard working, tough city. And while it feels a little bit different now, that's always how I've seen Manchester. So kind of felt an affinity to the people, and always found that. Then I'm a sound engineer, so I was doing a gig in Manchester, and one of the best experience I've ever had doing a gig with an artist was an artist from Detroit. So it just kind of felt like a culmination of a load of things where I just kind of said Detroit, and then I started paying a bit more attention. And it was like the year that Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford. I think Calvin Johnson's all that really needs to be said. But
Yeah.
we had a great
He was a
defense. It
beast.
was the year after with Glover Quinn, Darius Slay. dominating the backfield, and yeah, I kind of, that's how like the Lions kind of, Detroit fell upon me as a person, and then the Lions just kind of came with it.
Sweet. It's really interesting. And just wondering, what is the hardest thing about being a Lions fan in the UK, of being based over here like we are?
I think it's sometimes lonely. And it's incredible to watch the game grow and as much as you kind of don't want glory hunters, you kind of hope that this current crop of Lions players are going to bring a load more people in. But I was originally one of the original members of the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, and we were all just amazed that there were 5 of us, and then we'd find 1 or 2 more, and then 1 or 2 more, and then all of a sudden it still feels like there's only about 10 UK Lions fans. But I guess being a Lions fan in the UK is just that whole kind of finding your community of people that are around, because they are few and far between. It feels like,
especially when you're bad like we are. It's very difficult
and
to find.
exactly.
It
but
really is.
there are also a lot of positives that come with that, and this is so I was talking to, I'm on a Discord with some Lions friends from in the States, and you'll know this from being bad. So many of our games are on at 6 p.m. and so many of our games are not being the ones chosen for Sky. So if you've got Game Pass, you've got it all. Like, you are living the life with Game Pass. So it swings and roundabouts. Bit lonely, but at least I'm lonely with a fully usable Game Pass.
Yeah, I suppose so. You're right there. Like, you're absolutely right there. I mean, funnily enough, representing the 313 has got to be quite difficult for you. I mean, we were the same. We didn't know each other prior to social media, either me or Scouse. And obviously we've reached out through common friends that are around the UK. And you're right, it feels like there's a good 20 in our WhatsApp group, isn't there or thereabouts, that we've got going. And there's quite a few fans from the 80s of the Commanders, what was obviously then Redskins, 80s, and people who grew up and seen the glory days, 80s
exactly,
and 90s.
When we were good. That's when fans...
we were good. Yeah. And now we've got... But then I think that all stemmed from like the days of the TV and of Channel 4 and what highlights you'd see. And then prior to that, it was like Gridiron Magazine and things like that. It was always featuring the best teams. It was the 49ers, it was the Bears, it was the Commanders of the world, and the Dolphins. And you're thinking, now we've just had 20 years of absolute pain, which must be very similar to yourself. The fact that now
I think they've had it better than us. I think you've had it better than us, mate, because you've had a franchise quarterback. We haven't had shit. 30 years, man.
I would agree. And do you know what? I'll say it on this sense that at the end of this is football, and if you have shit on-field product, that is what it is. And if your front office isn't great, your front office isn't great. But as useless and clueless as William Clayford was, and as useless and clueless, but well-meaning as Martha was, our back office, as useless and clueless as it has been just a back office that's useless and clueless. What you guys have had, not only on the field, not only in the front office, but also in the back office and in the ownership, you've had it on all 3 fronts. And it's not the bit where you sat there just having a bit of banter with your friend about going, oh, that game was terrible, we should have scored that touchdown. You're thinking, why, or what have we done wrong? What have we as people done wrong to deserve this?
Yeah, there's lots of podcasts you can go back 100%. To and listen to that, where we have had nothing but off-field chaos.
The Dan Snyder debacle for the last fucking 20 odd years. I mean, the guy's a genuine scumbag, and his boys that he always hung around with before, Bruce Allen's, Vinny Soato's, all these other guys, absolute scumbags as well, mate. And that's the problem. We've had real arrogant guys at the top, but actually didn't follow through with any real product on the field that actually made us actually good.
Sometimes you find that you've got owners, and it takes time, but sometimes you find owners that have got teams because they can walk around billionaires clubs and go, I've got an NFL team, look at me.
That's Dan Snyder. This is his baby,
Yeah, and unfortunately, and again, like I think I've said this to a couple of years in like Andy as well, Andy Burrows. I just hope that the new ownership provides you with something that you can, because at the end of the day, if you want a winning franchise, it needs to come from the top down. And I'm a true believer in whether it's a small business on the corner of a street or whether it's a massive global entity. Leadership comes from the top down, and we're experiencing what that's like now with Sheila. And hopefully, for you guys, that the new leadership is one that can kind of transform the whole organization.
Yeah, it needs to be. It needs to happen fast as well, to be fair. I mean, it really needs a big change. And obviously, I really like what you're doing over there. Actually, I really like Dan Campbell. I like him as a coach, man. He's really, really good. And who's the other guy? Is the
GM's awesome.
Brad Holmes.
Is that the GM? Is it?
Yeah. Awesome.
It wasn't him I was going to talk about. It was one of your coaches who said he's going to stay another year, but he should have had
Ben Johnson
jobs. Yeah, what's he? Is he a
offensive coordinator?
Is he the coordinator? Is he? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm surprised he stayed another year. To be fair, but I'm liking how he's doing it. So
yeah, you can go back, Aaron. You can listen to our back catalogue. We all had you tipped this year as being a bit of a dark horse and a bit of an outsider, but we thought you was probably a year too soon. And actually, I thought you overperformed this year more than we expected.
I mean,
and I think
us,
you
yeah,
that was ridiculous. And then you're on another
ridiculous losing streak.
But then you're on another. You're on a trajectory now where I think you're going to be a good team, especially in that division in the north. Now that Rodgers has gone, I think you've got a really good future. You've got a really good future going forward.
We are, for the first time since I followed the Lions, we are favourites for the division in almost every book. In every bookie, I've got good relationships with people over in Detroit who've been following the Lions a lot longer than I have, who are also saying for the first time in their lifetime, the Lions are the favourites. And I agree. I mean, I guess I'm biased in this, but I'm absolutely loving it. And you're right, Ben Johnson should have gone last year, but I think when you look at last season and the overachieving, yes. Given that we went 3-13 and won the year before, but we were just clicking at the end. We just about got it at the end. The results started to turn a little bit, and then that first half of the year, the defense could not get it whatsoever. And then we went on that small run where DJ Chark was out, Jameson Williams was still out, and Amon-Ra St. Brown was out. And that's when we put up like 6 points against the Cowboys.
I mean, what do you think about that guy? What do you think about that, Jameson Williams? Because he got injured. He was injured, wasn't he, for most of the season? He came back, and now he's suspended again. I'd be fuming, mate. If I was your team, I'd be pissed off with him.
We were, and look, we get I think there are two ways that everyone's looking at it, and I like to think of myself as kind of the middle of the road kind of person. So you've got the lot who went on the whole, the NFL's trash, the NFL's a load of shit, the NFL's got bad rules, the NFL shouldn't be doing this, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. Then you've got the kind of side of people who were going that Jameson Williams is the biggest idiot to have ever played for the Lions, which is a load of shit. We've had plenty of idiots join this franchise. He's a brilliantly talented kid. And it feels weird to call these people kids because I still feel like I'm their age and I'm a few years older now. But he's a brilliantly talented kid. He's got what he could do for this offense is something else. And my thoughts on him are pretty much, I want to kind of mostly leave him at that. He's got to make a couple of better decisions. I feel like I've seen a couple of times where he's had maybe not quite the right people around him, which may be needed. But he's like 21, 22.
How many games did you spend? 6 in there? 6 game suspension. So you missed most of last season and then come back, and this season you're going to be thinking, this guy's healthy, he's going to be burning the league up. No, 6 game suspension. I'll be pissed.
Oh yeah, and
he was my
one of the big differences, though, luckily for us, is he's suspended. He's not suspended up until week 1 starts. So that month, that I think,
so he can train in that
Tuesday morning before week 1, or Monday morning before we play the Chiefs. He can be in training. He can be in preseason. He can be running snaps. So it's not the end of the world. He will be up to some. It'll just be about getting him up to the speed again in week 6 or week 7 rather than getting him um up to scratch with the playbook, making sure they're all on the right. You still have a lot of that going. But yeah, he's just a guy who probably needs to make a couple of better decisions. But
Interesting.
there are a lot of players who've been bit by the same thing.
We're one of them.
So-
We've got Shaka Tony, who's
one of our guys.
indefinitely
Yes.
suspended. Indefinitely suspended. So
We had
we don't
two
even
others who
know.
were also.
Yeah,
we
I
don't
saw
even
that.
know what that's. We don't even know what's happening with that. So it's a strange one. I mean, it's a real funny one. But I think you're right. I agree with you. When you give young adults a lot of money, their first round picks, the talent that they come out of a top college, a top school. They've always been told they're the best at their game throughout their entire life, probably from 16 years old onwards. They're touted as this is where you're going to be. Then they get that money, they come into the league. It's got to be a little bit of a distraction. And you're right. We've had the same thing in our franchise where we've had people around us and around other star players.
Yeah,
that
I
we've had
think
where it's just gone off the rails.
you got to weigh up the risk and reward of guys. I mean, as you said, the guy's talented, 100%. But if you got like I say, if he's in a bad crowd, half the time he's not going to be available because he's going to get done for something, gambling, maybe drugs, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Holding a gun. Some of these guys are going around with guns in airports at the moment and shit like that. So, it's just absolute stupidity. It's like these guys, like, what are you doing? Like, you are millionaires, professionals. So get your heads right.
Yeah, and I think you look at Jay Moran at the moment as one of the big in basketball as the big example of going on with a gun on Instagram Live and waving it about. I'm trying. I don't want to put Jameson Williams in with that category because I think it's a silly mistake rather than waving a gun on Instagram Live.
Yeah.
And again, I also get the fact that the rule, when you know it, it's like, well, okay, but the whole kind of you can't. It was all bitten on the fact that they were on the road, so wherever he technically went was a team facility. So, and we don't know. I don't know the details. He could have just opened his app and it's just flagged and then gone, well, you're on betting apps while you're on a team facility. And it could be something just daft.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, something that the NFL is just clamping down on more than anything.
I get it from the NFL's point of view, because in the day, if you start letting these guys slide, they're all going to keep doing it, and then eventually it's going to start messing the results up. So I understand, that even the smallest ones. I mean, I felt bad for the guy from was Atlanta. I think he got moved on, didn't he? Ridley, Calvin Ridley. So I felt bad for him because he was kind of the first guy really got done for it, wasn't he? Last season, start of last year, and he had the whole season out.
And we've dealt with it in English football with Ivan Toney.
Yeah, of course we have, yeah.
So it's not even as if it's like an NFL thing.
His suspension, though, was like over the summer, so he missed about one game.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous thing.
So but it's one of those things where maybe guidance needs to be clearer. And I get that Ivan Toney, it's different. It is generally different. If you look at like the actual,
he was bad though. I mean, yeah, he was. He just had a whole season suspension. Not these other guys in the NFL have only do it once or twice.
But it's a slippery slope. And actually, they're luckily, I think we've got the right people around in the franchise. It's why I feel like they brought someone like Marvin Jones Jr. back. Because Marvin Jones Jr. has been in the league for a long time. He's on like his 4th or 5th contract. You don't stick around at that age with that many contracts if you don't have something to bring to the table. He's a family man. He's a lot of different, and I think it's just someone to sit down and go, listen, let's go make some positive decisions. Let's go. Just keep your head down. And I think if I could say anything to any NFL player, it's a bit like if you don't know the rule, especially one where gambling is going to be the one that's going to bite you. It's going to be most monetary value you're going to lose. And the most game time you're going to lose. Other than everything, just don't bother. Like, it's not worth it. Or text a friend and ask them to put it on for you. Don't bother with it because it's only the risk versus reward, like you were saying, Andy. It doesn't weigh up.
You're right. So, what do you think then? And what are your thoughts on on how the Lions are drafted this year? Because obviously a lot of buzz around, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs as well being taken early in the first. So, what's your thoughts on how you've done this year?
Personally, I love it.
Okay.
I'm not someone who subscribes to positional value as much as certain other people do, because I know when you've got Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs going in the first, there was a lot said about the positional value. But I think what the Lions were able to do this year was we were in a luxury position. We had, by the time that the draft came round, no serious glaring holes in either the offense or defense. We all had an idea of whether we prefer it. We kind of preferred someone else on the line, like an edge rusher or something, or even, in fact, to be quite honest, a lot of Lions fans wanted someone down the middle in a tackle, which is why, what's his name? He went to the Seahawks. No, sorry, not the Seahawks. What's his name? There was a load of trouble around him before the season started about
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter, that's the one. He went to the
Carter.
Eagles.
DT, yeah, went to the Eagles, didn't he? Yeah. It was just to fuck us in our division. Yeah.
yeah. Cheers for that. Yeah, exactly.
But like a lot of people wanted him because we do still kind of need something on the line. But it was not a glaring hole. Again, linebacker, it would be nice if the room was bolstered, but it was stable enough to get us by through the season. So we were in that like really nice luxury position. We traded back from 6 because who we wanted was gone.
Who was that?
What's his name? He went to
was it Witherspoon?
Witherspoon. He went to the Seahawks.
I thought he might be after it.
I think it looked like what he was the one that Dan and Brad wanted. He was gone, so we traded with the Cardinals, got pushed back, got a bit more capital, and it was a luxury position. That wasn't even our pick. That was the Rams pick from the Goff Stafford trade. So that I like what they did with Jahmyr Gibbs, because Jahmyr Gibbs I think he's going to split a lot of reps. He's not going to line up solely in the backfield. He's going to probably be what we felt like Swift was going to be.
Okay.
He'll carry some of the load, but that's going to be mostly Montgomery's thing.
Do you think he's going to be durable though? Because obviously Swift wasn't, even though he was talented.
Oh, I bloody hope so.
Yeah, because to say Swift is talented, just always injured. That's his problem.
Yeah,
Glass ankles on it.
I think half of the problem there is he was playing scared for a while. I don't know if certain people have issues with the saying of it, but I think he was playing scared for a while. If you actually watch him, apart from it was very rare. If you watch some of the games, and if you even look at some of the Hard Knocks, when a gap would open up, but he'd carry on running to the outside, and you'd have Juice Daly at the sideline kind of going, what go through the gap, take the hit if you need to take it, but go. He was too scared to take the hit. So I think we're just having, whether he's durable or not, having someone without that fear. He's there to be, when he gets a carry on the ball, he's there to be a home run hitter, but he's going to also go in the slot. He's also going to line up on out wide. So the whole positional value for me is skewed there as well. When you've got the fact he'll be a glorified running back or like a not a glorious wide receiver.
Do you mean like Debo, like a Debo Samuel, that type of player?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think they're going to utilize him in a very similar way. And then Jack Campbell again. A lot will be said.
I thought this one was a reach.
Yeah, so did I, actually, to be fair.
I thought he was a third to late second round and not first. But he's a good player.
It's wild because I think you look at this draft though, and some of the drafts I was seeing, some of the big boards I was seeing had him very much the same. And I was seeing about an equal amount of draft boards where they were like, he's going just before that. So I think this draft has been blown well out of proportion. I think we've learned a lot through this draft at how little we all know. Or what we value isn't necessarily the case.
Correct.
And me included, I felt like I had this all on point, and then now I just don't know what I know anymore. But Jack Campbell, I think what we were looking at there is a leader in the backfield. If I remember reading a quote from Brad Holmes where when they were interviewing Sam Laporta, said, if you could bring any Iowa teammate with you, who would it be? And he said, without a doubt, it'd be Jack Campbell every single last time. He's a leader in the backfield. And after watching a lot of the tape, I'm very happy with the pick. Very, very happy with it. And given the value we got later on, very happy with that. I'll take the pick. And then we were hearing things of like, if you actually watch I think it's the Jack Campbell pick, as soon as it gets made and the phone's passed on, you actually watch Brad Holmes takes a phone call on his personal phone, and he starts laughing. And it's but some of the talk that's been said between other teams as well is someone, they believe, I think it was the Bills, rang him up to say, like, "Fuck you, we were going to have that." Why?
Yeah, they went tight end, and they went Kincaid, I think, didn't they? So yeah.
I say, yeah. I mean, Lions had 2 picks. I mean, that's why it was like such a let's say, yeah, you're doing a luxury position. You can pick what you wanted, really. Yeah, because most guys have got to nail it in the first round because we've only got one of them. That's in first round pick. Where you had 2 of them, so it was just like, yeah, I've got options here.
And we knew at this point plays were gonna fall. Every year players fall, but quite a few players were gonna fall, and quite a few players were gonna get taken way before they was probably supposed to win a traditional draft. So, and again, like you see, I think we drafted more for culture fit, scheme, and what the Lions need, rather than, okay, this person's the best player at this point on the board. Let's take that.
That's what we've done. Best player available in a position of need, if that made sense. Best player available in a position of need. We still got holes. We still got holes still, but we were quite happy with our draft, weren't we, to a certain extent?
Yeah, initially no, because I'll be frankly honest with you, I wanted Christian Gonzalez, and I was really high on him, and he was there, and I'm thinking to myself, right, this is nailed on, it's Gonzalez. But from the start, when you watch it back, all they wanted to talk about was Emmanuel Forbes. And it's like everything was Emmanuel Forbes. Nobody else. It was all about Emmanuel Forbes. And you're like, okay. And they got him, and that's who they picked. And the guy has legs that look like twigs, but it is what it is. He's very, very slender. I don't think there's been a DB of that size, 168 pounds, that's actually worked out. He's now about 175, isn't he? Scouse there or thereabouts.
Yeah. He's
bulked a bit of muscle on, but
he get bigger. Maybe about 180, I reckon. By the time he
is what they advertised. He's the guy who's taking the ball away, who's bringing
that's what we needed. And our defense,
and we had nothing on that.
Depending on what metric you look at, we were a top 5 defense. So, but we didn't. One of our worst problems was turnovers, taking the ball away. So we got a guy, or 2 guys, Quan Martin, our second round pick as well, another guy who could produce turnovers. So that's the reason why he went that route in the first 2 rounds, which, to our annoyance, I can see why they did it, because we're taking on really good offenses in our division. However, pissed off because I thought our offense needed some more beefing up, especially on the offensive line. So, and possibly tight end if you think about it, but we didn't go down that route. But yeah, so it's I give ours a B grade personally, but yeah, it wasn't too.
Yeah, so what grade would you give your own Lions then? Would you say your draft grade was like? I don't like draft grades, to be fair. I don't really like
them. I hate them. And this is what I've purposefully ignored when people go into group chats and ask. I don't reply to the question, but you've asked me personally now. Upon reflection, and getting a chance to watch a lot of the highlights and a lot of the tape, and trying to kind of remove some of that positional value side of it, I'd give us a B plus A minus. Nice. I think it is a damn good draft when you consider the fact that at the end of the day, it's a good team that got better in free agency and then even better through the draft in positions of we didn't have any positions of need. So what we did was we got a lot of people who came in and are going to be culture fits, who a couple of them are going to be day one starters who will who can help change the way we play and improve the way we play. And we've got the likes of Brian Branch. And
I know, I hated that pick going to you.
Great pick.
I hated that pick going to you. I really wanted him. I was like, why did we just trade for 2 spots to get him? But
of all the ones where it kind of came to us at that point, I was going, please, for the love, just take Brian Branch. Please take Brian. Please take Brian Branch, and we did. And he's someone who doesn't have to come in day one, but he's going to learn under Cam Sutton and CJ GJ and guys like that. Like, he's the learning curve he's going to get coming into the NFL is going to be brilliant. And we've got a couple of these guys on 1-year deals, like Brad Holmes likes to do, these 1-year prove it deals. If one of them goes, he's going to step up. And that year, we've got a potential QB of the future in Hendon Hooker. If it doesn't work out, we've got So I think just looking at that grade goes purely off. We've got the day one starters. We've got our we've got some insurance policies, and we've got whether it be in the future or just through the season for some depth and rotation.
And I like the hooker pick as well, because he was definitely like the third. I think personally third best QB in the draft behind Stroud and the other little fella. What's his name?
Bryce Young.
That's it, Bryce Young. Yeah, and obviously getting him in the what was his third round? You get him in? Was he third round?
Third, yeah.
Yeah, right at the start of the third.
Yeah, so and again, I'd say it's perfect backup for Goff. As you say, he's quite expensive, isn't he, Goff at the moment? So with his wages and he is reduced this year. You got Hooker coming in next year, so
yeah. And if we're not careful, he's only going to get more expensive. Judging by the way, Lamar. You got Kyler Murray's contract. You've got Lamar's contract.
That's insane. Murray's not winning because of how bad he is. Really, I don't think he's a good quarterback personally. I don't think Kyler Murray's a good quarterback at all personally. And
Hurts got
Jalen Hurts,
well.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he got paid.
Even
Daniel Jones got paid. I mean, what?
Yes,
is
Daniel
going
Jones.
on?
I can't shake Daniel Jones being the guy who was on his own at the 20-yard line, running into the end zone and fell over. I can't shake that image of him.
Yeah, I know.
And thinking he's got a bag. Like, I wouldn't have done that. Where's my bag?
But the thing that you don't understand, you don't know, and you don't know because you don't follow it, is that every time Daniel Jones plays against us, he's the resurrection of Joe Montana. And you're like, what's happening here? He's unbelievable. He turns into the absolute GOAT when he plays us. It's just crazy. But everybody else,
some guys like a team, don't they? Some QB just really likes playing against the team, and unfortunately Jones likes playing against us. But
just if you've got,
I mean, what do you think about Aaron? What do you think about the Hard Knocks scenario this summer? Because obviously there's been a lot of talk that we could get it, and Ron Rivera, our head coach, is saying, "No, we don't want it. We doesn't want it. He doesn't want it." And then obviously, then there's been rumors that you might get it for second year running. Which I don't think as if I was a Detroit fan, I wouldn't want it again 2 years in a row personally. But what do you think?
I'm not gonna lie, I'd love it. I was saying, I think I've spoke to like as Andy Burrows the other day, and actually obviously spoke to you, Scott, not long ago. The Dan Campbell quotes from that are all tattooable. And
right.
I thought it was brilliant, and the Lions are a very interesting team. We've got whether it's good or bad, and I think this is what we said when Dan Campbell gave his first press conference, and I was on the Roar of the Lions, and we did like a little emergency podcast, like, oh, we've got a new head coach, let's all get together and talk. The one thing we said was, good or bad, this is not going to be boring. Hard Knocks, good or bad, it was not boring, and it hasn't been as a team either. So I think for the entertainment value, I'd love it. I'm not going to I'm just not going to lie. I think it was brilliant. But as far as that kind of distraction goes in training and things and in training, I think they're probably for the sake of the team, probably not. And I know that they're doing a lot more internally at the moment in the Lions, to kind of build the franchise. So it might not be. We've evolved as a franchise since last year, so it might not be the best time for us to give it what it deserves, I guess.
So you started the Asleep at Work podcast, and I've had a listen back to your episodes. And firstly, thank you for having me on the other week, and appreciate you putting Burrows on. Obviously, it was him that brought me to you.
Yeah.
To you. We've been friends with Burrows for four plus years now. Probably been listening to him a bit longer on podcasts and other bits and pieces. So, really appreciate it. What was your, what made you start the podcast really, and what made you think, do you know what, I want to hear things from a UK point of view, UK perspective, other teams, fans out there. I mean, just for the listeners out there, we are shouting out people here, and we're trying to do a round table very soon of the NFC East. Guys, so hopefully we can get a fan on from each of the teams and debate what we're going to do this year. But Philly seem to be letting us down a bit at the minute, but we'll find out somewhere.
What a surprise.
Exactly. What are your?
I don't know why this is the perfect time for them.
It's always
winning,
Philly. It's
good.
always Philly. Always Philly Scouts, and I don't know why.
I know, man.
But yeah, I've listened to your back catalogue. I've had a good go back. I heard the guy from the Colts this week. Pretty good podcast again. So give us a shout and a feel for what you do on your show.
Yeah. So I guarantee you, anyone who's in the UK factor of your listener, your audience, has been at some point. If they have Facebook, they've been in the NFL UK Facebook group, and we can all relate to this. Every day, there is one person who asks the question, "Who do you support and why?" But like, of all posts, that's the one that every day gets 300, 400 comments of people so excited to tell people why they support who they support. And I just say how interesting is that story? And one of the reasons that you kind of, I said at the start of this episode, as you asked me, Andy, what's one of the worst things about being a Lions fan in the UK is it's lonely. But actually, do you know what? Realistically, it's not lonely at all. Because the NFL UK community is bloody amazing. And we have this thing where, for the most part, yeah, we have our little rivalries in our team, but we're all just so happy that we're from the same place and like the same thing. And it's so beautiful. When you go to the games at Wembley or Spurs, everyone's just so happy to like the same thing together and be around people who like this thing that none of us grew up liking, or none of us grew up with we don't get brought up with it. But we all have our own different kind of, where it's like coming to Jesus moment, but with the where the NFL is Jesus. And a story as to why we chose our team. And I look at you guys and I think the Commanders are not a typically glory hunted team, unless you're looking at the late 80s and that incredible Redskins team that the last time we won a playoff game, you absolutely wrecked us in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
In 1991.
Sorry, not sorry.
No, well, I don't apologize to me. I wasn't even born yet.
Okay.
The last time we won a playoff game, I wasn't even born. It's like there's no real reason to glory hunt the Lions up until now. So to have this team, I know with every team, not everybody has jumped on to be a glory hunter. Even with the Patriots and now the Chiefs and teams like that, everyone has but every team has fans with a unique story of why they felt connected to that team, what drew them, and what drew you guys to what was originally the Redskins and is now the Commanders, is an interesting thing. And whether if I was to follow your line of reasoning, I might not get to the Commanders. So if anyone new is getting into the sport and they want to know how to choose a team, they can follow anyone's recipe. And you know what? You're not going to copy them if you've got a connection. If you accidentally stumbled upon Madden one day, like a few guys have had, you were clicking through the remote, through the TV on at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night and accidentally watched the NFL. These stories and how we find our way to connect to our team is just, I think it's beautiful. And yeah, so that's kind of why I've gone at that angle is I want to hear that story. I like that story of how we find the sport and then how we come to love it and how we come to support the teams that we support.
Perfect. Well, thank you for summarising that up. We'll get you to shout out your social media handle. We'll get you to shout your podcast out before you disappear with us. We'll go a bit of rapid fire with this one just to finish off. And thank you. You've been over generous with your time. So I really appreciate that. Who's your favourite Lions player of all time?
I think we'll go all time. It'd be Barry Sanders, but my kind of favourite Lions player that I kind of personally connect to, it kind of coming from my time, would probably be Marvin Jones Jr., who's just come back. Nothing more than the fact that we have connected and spoke on social media. That's it.
Oh, nice.
He's such a talented guy, but a lovely guy. And yeah, proudly repping the jersey now. He's back.
I see that as well. Who's your favourite current player
then?
He said Marvin Jones, didn't he?
Oh, it's a great one.
Okay, Jones, yeah.
Marvin Jones, but also to kind of give you a different answer, I'd probably say Amon-Ra St. Brown
Okay.
at the moment. Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. And last one, but not least, record prediction for the season.
11-5 with a wild card playoff win, and we will be kings of the North, baby.
11-5. So does that mean
you're going to win?
11-6.
Not going to show up a game or something? Is that what's going to happen?
11-6. I know what you mean. I know. We knew what you meant. We knew what you meant. We were there. So are you winning the North?
It could have been 12. Could have been 12, couldn't it?
Are you winning the North?
11-6, winning the North and a wild card game.
Okay.
Well, would you be in the wild card if you win your division?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, would you be in, or would you just go straight through?
I reckon with them. No, we
depends on your record, wouldn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, it would depend on the record. You're right. Yeah.
The only one who gets the bye week in the first week and goes straight to the divisionals is the leader of the NFC.
Yeah,
which I probably think I genuinely it'll be between the Eagles and the Niners again.
More than likely, to be fair. NFC.
I hope the Niners, and not just for your sake, but I hope for everything. I like the Niners. Never been too huge a fan of the Eagles, and now they've got Matt Patricia on their thingy. I hope the whole franchise crashes and burns. But
thank you. Well, you're welcome anytime with that comment. You're welcome anytime you want to be on the show. So no problems at all with that. Thank you very much, Aaron, for your time. Honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on. I can't thank you enough for being here. Really enjoyed you being with us. Just want to shout out your social media handles and where we can find your podcast, mate.
Yeah, so real quick, Asleep at Work, and it can be found on @Asleep at Work NFL, and pretty much the handle on everything. And then if you kind of like me, you can connect to me personally, and I'm Aaron the Mank. If you can't tell already, I thought I'd make a statement rather than a social media handle. So Aaron the Mank, again, everywhere there's probably a social media.
Perfect. We will shout you out on the wrap up of this pod, which should be out in about an hour-ish, I reckon. It'll be up and out later on. We'll tag all you in on your social media handles. If anyone wants to listen to Aaron, please go ahead and subscribe and give him a listen. And also, if you want to be on his show, probably DM him and see if you can. But later down the line, because he's had quite a few commanders lately, I think. So
I love you guys. You are genuinely probably my favorite fan base outside of the Lions in the UK, around the world. Lovely people, but there's so many of you at the moment.
Fair enough.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much thank you for having me as well and letting me talk Lions with you guys. And best of luck for the most part for the rest of the season.
All right, you take care, mate. Cheers for your time.
Take care, man. Cheers, mate. Bye bye. That was Aaron the Mank. That was Aaron the Mank. Yeah,
really good chat, to be fair, and it's something different. And I hope people like what he brought to us there. So yeah, man, what a good guy, and go and follow him on his podcast. So we've got if you like Lions, and if you don't like Lions, and you want to just listen to what other people's stories are around the NFL, go and give him a listen. We've got some questions in and from listeners, so thank you for submitting your questions. And the first one is from Andy Burrows, and he says, "Why are you podcasting when there's nothing to talk about?" So quite simply, Andy, we're going to give it a go. We're going to give it a go. We're going to keep the mic rolling.
It's because we love our fans, man. That's what it is, We want people to keep, don't forget about us. You know what I mean?
It's consistency is the key.
Consistency, be there every week, and hopefully, people still stick around. And when eventually we've got something to really talk about,
hey, we have.
It'll be great,
It will be. Jesse from the Bleeding Burgundy podcast has wrote into us, and he said, "Why are people not giving stock up on Washington's offense when they have an OC with a proven track record and a better QB under center?"
Well, I think the problem is the national perception is Sam Howell isn't that good. Yeah. That's the problem. It isn't Bieniemy or anything like that. They know that the guy's got some caliber, but again, technically in the national media, you could say, is it Bieniemy's team or was it Andy Reid's? And this is going to be the true acid test this season for them. I can't wait for both these guys to show the whole national media and everybody else exactly what they're about. But I think that's the main reason why we're getting so lowballed and so dicked over every time, because we've got an unproven quarterback with, you could say, a half proven, unproven head of offensive coordinator.
Well, assistant head coach, stroke offensive coordinator.
Coach,
I'll give him his title. Come on,
it's full
come
title.
on.
But yeah, I mean, no, obviously we're gonna look from it from the rose tinted glasses and say, you know, these guys are gonna blow. These are gonna blow the water out of everybody. But we'll see. I just wait. That's what I'm gonna say to the NFL people listening out there. Just wait and see. You'll see Sam balling out. You'll see the enemy make up these amazing plays, these trick plays, and we're gonna have points on the board, man. I can't wait to see it.
I really hope so. Now, Canada Mike, who is a regular listener and obviously has been on the show, we really appreciate you writing these out to us. I mean,
how many did you give us? About 50.
It must have been about 15 questions. And to be fair to him, he has said to us, just read out the ones that you like the best. We're not in that game, mate. You wrote them in. We'll read them all out. So, yeah, no problem at all, buddy. Is Prime Minister Burrows an alien due to never needing sleep? That's an interesting one.
Yes, probably. I mean, you'd know better. You slept with them in the same room.
Well, that's hey, hold on a second.
I'm wrong.
We're in the same room. Yes, we were.
I wasn't. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I know, I'm with you. No, he is a nocturnal lad. I mean, I know he's up early doors every day, but for whatever reason, he doesn't need a lot of sleep. I think his mantra is you can sleep when you're dead. So, you know, maybe that's what it's about. But yeah, shout out, Burrows, what a lad. So, of all the podcasters that you know and we have interacted with over the years, who would win in an arm wrestling tournament?
Ooh.
Now, I tell you what, Scouts, with my string arms, it ain't gonna be me.
Hey, arm wrestle's not about bicep strength; it's about pec strength. It's chest, mate. So, you know, whoever's got a massive chest, have a good chance. So I reckon, like, maybe Steve Lim. Maybe
Steve Lim's a big old
Steve
boy.
Lim. Steve Lim's a beast, yeah. and maybe what's his name? Who we had a beer with when we were over there? Tim Meek as well.
Yeah,
he goes to gym regularly, so those two are probably quite strong in arm wrestles. Who do you reckon?
Else? I don't know. I think Kyle from the Burgundy Zone he'd have the mental fortitude to get there, but he'd pull up injured or something like that.
He'd be like
he wouldn't quit.
He could even do one on the bench. He could even do one on the bench. That'd be him. That'd be Kyle. Fred Smoot.
Reed would bottle it. So he's not.
I'd have a go.
I'd have a go. I think I might back you.
I've got a chest, man. I've got a strong chest, like, you know.
Who else is there? John Keith's been gymming.
Yeah, Keith's hitting the gym. Yeah.
Keith's hitting the gym, so maybe Keith. I don't know.
Definitely not Jesse though.
Jesse's just he's a stick of a man now, Jesse. So fair play. He's on a journey. So yeah.
Journey to where?
I don't know. Maybe he's smoking ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers.
You know, he's maybe down that route. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's a tough one. Steve Lim or you?
I think Steve Lim.
Or maybe Keith. They're all beasts. So another question here. Do you think that you could have played college football had you been an American kid? Now, for me, absolutely not. No way, no shape, no how.
I think I would have tried to. I don't know how good I would have been. I mean, I was reasonably talented when I was younger in general sports, but so maybe. I mean, I don't know. I probably would have been something like, you know, obviously in the line there, you know, part of the offensive line or defensive line. But yeah, I mean,
would you go D line or would you be O line?
I would have tried. I would probably go D line only because I'd like to hit the quarterback. So
fair play.
So yeah, I'll try and get in there, you know what I mean? So I probably would be like in the middle, you know, probably like a Payne or something like that. That's probably what I would have tried to be, like something like that or Allen. But yeah. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows how it would have worked out?
I had quite a successful rugby career, but obviously different ball, you know what I mean? Different shape. I can scrummage. I was quite strong in that respect.
I think what he's trying to talk about, though, obviously, because you're obviously into sport, you're athletic when you're younger. Would you have been, and if you're an American, you probably would have went into NFL, wouldn't you? You probably would have went into, because you feel like rugby. No, I play rugby as well. So those things, you probably would have been into the NFL if you were an American kid. You probably would have played it a bit and see if you're any good or not. At least,
yeah. I just don't think I'd have been high school. Probably college. I think it's too far just because of the size issue. I'm just not big enough, and I don't think it's ever going to get there. When you're 5'7", you're not going to get very far.
These phones made the NFL, mate, 5'5".
True. Yeah.
It can happen. It's exceptional.
What was the tiny running back? What was the tiny running back called that was awesome? I remember his name. I think he used to play. He's a returner as well. I think he was class.
Oh, you saw the guy played for Philly for a while as well.
Yeah.
He played all around. He was really good.
Yeah, he was good.
I know you're on about.
Anyway,
on top of my head. But yeah, I know you're on about though. Yeah.
Yeah. Next one, and it's a bell to this. If your wife said it's me or the Commanders, where do you think she'd move to?
Where'd she move to? Oh, anywhere else, mate, because we'll be gone.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
She can stay in the UK. We'll live over in the States. That's what would happen.
Yeah, exactly. That was a belter. I've got to say that's a great.
What would you do?
Well, if she said it's me or the Commanders, that's what I mean. I'd be like, no, see ya.
Well, see you later, Commanders. Yeah, that'd be you.
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Well, under the thumb, you bro.
Can you not see the thumbprint on the top of my balding head? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. Massive thumbprint there, man.
You should be listening. Do either of you follow a college football team? For myself, I don't have a college football team. I just feel like I haven't really got the time to even engage in it, and I don't think the access is that great for me for Saturday.
Yeah, it's got a bit worse. It's got a bit worse. The last year and the year before was quite good actually because BT Sport had it, but I think they're still getting bits, but I don't think it's as often with the college game. I don't think. Well, we'll see what happens this year because I think it's going to change this year for less. We're going to get less college ball this year, but we'll see. But I do have a team. I'm a Florida Gators fan. I've got an affiliation with them when I was training to be as Americans would call it, a physical therapist or physiotherapist over here. I worked over there for 6 months over there. I work with actually Florida Gators themselves, doing rehab with them and stuff like that, rehabbing their players. So I've always kind of before then didn't really have anything. This was about 2012, 2011, something like that. And I lived in Florida for a while there, and then so they were my team, and obviously worked with them for a while. So I kind of stuck with them, but obviously, I'm not as huge into them as I am the Commanders as such. I know a little bit about them. That's why I know Richardson's going to be a bust. That's why I know about Richardson. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know every single player in the team right now or anything like that. I'm not massively, but I still follow them how they're getting on and stuff. I wouldn't watch every game like I would do with the Commanders.
So next one then is: do you think a fan should be allowed to call at least one play in the home game against the Cowboys?
No,
random, totally random.
Yeah, I would say
there's already a fan calling the plays for the Cowboys, and his name's Mike McCarthy. Absolutely. I don't even know. I
thought it was Jerry on the phone.
Maybe it is Jerry. I mean, maybe he just sits there like this, Mike McCarthy, with his sheet full of cheeseburgers. Cheeseburger,
Big Mac with fries.
Who knows?
But yeah, I mean, obviously, from a fan point of view, for us, I mean, obviously, you wouldn't love to call a play.
Of course, you would. Yeah.
It's never, ever going to happen for anyone. It's not like you win a prize, and by the way, you can choose the opening play of the game. That'd be quite cool, though. To be fair, it would be a cool prize to have, but unlikely.
Interesting on this: if the team offered you a job promoting the team in the UK full time, but the wages were 10% less than you are currently on now, would you take it?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I would take it. Yeah, I would take it. I mean, we do this for free because we enjoy talking about the team and we're laughing at in between. I mean, imagine doing that for you, but being paid for doing it as well. That is absolutely that's the dream.
It's the dream, isn't it?
That is the dream. Just sitting there talking shit for and you're promoting the team and stuff. Oh, mate, that'd be phenomenal. So yeah, 100%. I'd take it even for a 10% pay decrease.
For me, it's a no because I'm a greedy bastard. No, not really. For me, it's a no.
To be fair, it's not wrong. He's kind of joking about it, but really,
it's no. In all honesty, where I am at the moment in my current job, I'm very comfortable. And I know there's at least 45 years worth of work on the order book at the moment that's not going to go anywhere. So
hey,
I know
Commanders ain't going anywhere, mate. Commanders.
No, I know that. But
they're going to be a favour, mate.
Yeah, but you say that. Who knows where you'll be in 2 years? You know what I mean? If they go, actually, this program isn't working out. It's not something the front office want to do anymore.
Oh, okay. So you mean like it's a bit
security
risky? You mean, yeah, a bit riskier. Like you could be fired anytime. Like Yeah,
security wise. I mean, if they came to you and said, "Hey, it's a 10-year contract and we can't get you out of the contract," absolutely, I'd do it in a heartbeat. No problem at all for 10% less. Not a problem. But it's the security aspect of it where I know right now in my current role.
But I mean, what happens? Or do you think could be like a 5-year contract and you get sacked after 1 year, but you still get your 5-year deal? You still get paid. You can always get.
You can always get.
Would you do it then? Would you do it then?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you get paid for your contract if you got fired, even if it was earlier than your contract would run out as such. Yeah. I'd do that.
I would do that, yeah. So the next follow on from that, the caveat is he said, do you feel we should have a full-time representative in the UK to promote the team and in Europe?
Tough one, really. I mean, yes. I mean, technically you would say yes, because there is actually fans over here. We just don't know them all. Not everybody's on Twitter, and obviously our demographic, are all going to be the guys in the, late 30s onwards. Do you know what I mean? Because they'll recognize that, when we grew up with them, they were still kind of good. So, and you always pick somebody who's good, unless you got a family member who's involved or whatever. But 9 out of 10, you pick a team who's kind of good at the time. And obviously Skins were good at then times. So anyone like in the 20s or teens now, highly unlikely going to get a lot of fans at this moment. So that'd be where you've got to work your arse off to try and get the younger fans to come and love the Commanders rather than the Chiefs who are kicking ass at the moment or the Eagles. So I suppose you could see at both ends, couldn't you? You could say, well, yes, we should have, because we've got a massive age demographic that's not very good. Or you could say no, because we've got shitloads of fans but just older. Because obviously when we were over in Wembley, I mean, you couldn't move anywhere. I mean, it was just full of Skins fans. In that pub, and that it's just mad. It's just rammed full of Skins fans. So, and they're all over the world. They really are.
Yeah, they are.
But
I mean, you spoke to people in Canada, you spoke to people in Australia, you spoke to people all over the spot, Germany, you name it, they're there.
Yeah,
and I mean, I agree with you. I just think it's a difficult one because the team themselves did not pick the UK as one of them like branding places where they were going to brand the team, which is obviously difficult.
I just find that funny, because obviously you normally go to places where there's money, as in like as a country, like for example, you wouldn't pick like Sudan. You know what I mean? Because one, there's no people there. Two, not gonna watch the games. Three, I mean, there's not a lot of money besides the old guys. So, where for like UK, it's quite an affluent country as such, like the US, and so I don't understand why they didn't choose the UK as one of those spots. To be fair, but
it's interesting. But I know the team obviously does appreciate what we do as a UK fan base. That's an absolute certainty. I mean, Jason Wright's obviously took his time out to see us and take us around the stadium. He sent us things like when we had the draft party, we had a video of him saying, look, this is the first. We appreciate what you're doing. They do reach out to us as a team, which is fantastic. You've got the other side of it where you've got the Julie Donaldsons of the world who are happy to go on fan podcasts with us. And, they are there. They know we're there. We know we've got an active voice to play in this community, which is fantastic. All the other content creators are exactly the same. They're welcoming with us in. They understand that as UK fans, we know as much as they do. I mean, Christ almighty, I would put Tony Wheat up against anyone and say, go on then. You tell him more than he's forgot more about this game than I will ever know. Unbelievable. I call him the Oracle now. There's fans like that are out there, you know what I mean? Because they've had nothing, and all they've had is the magazines, the study, the time you can take to look at the newspaper that comes out to go through every. And
again, it's play. That demographic, though, isn't it? It's like the 40s onwards. Do you know what I mean? And the biggest thing that obviously we need younger fans to get involved as well. That's why you do stuff with that stupid pig thing, Tuddy the pig.
Major Tuddy,
waste of time him. But I understand why he's there for the kids. I understand that. But the thing is like we need to get guys like the where we're really, really like lacking, probably around the world. But it's probably that kind of 12 years old to 20 years old, around that age range. Like because no one's picking us because we're not a good team. Yeah. Even like especially the States. They might have family members who are Skins fans, but they go, no, I'm an Eagles fan because it's just there's a better team. Even though I might piss your dad off or whatever, they'll still do it.
Yeah, it's really strange, isn't it?
And
and you're right, we don't have that here. We're very tribal in the way that we're deep rooted in communities as well, especially when it comes to things like our football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. You know, we have that entrenched a love for a game or a sport because the dad's done that, the uncle's done that, the granddad's done that, and they've taken them to games. I mean, Christ, that's why I'm a Carlisle fan, you know, for my sins. I've done it because it was easier to get to Carlisle than it was to get to Newcastle. You know, half my family are black and white. The other half of my family are all Carlisle fans. And that's where my dad took me. So that's what you do. And you don't have that in the States. You're right. It's very easy to pick and choose and to move around and move teams. And we've also seen that.
And I think dads are too forgiving over there, I think.
Maybe.
When my mum was getting me into Liverpool football team and if I decide, you know what, I'm just going to be a United fan, or I'm just going to be an Everton fan, he'd kick shit out of me. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, that would not be allowed. I wouldn't be allowed in the house ever again. Do you know what I mean? So even at 8 years old or something, he'd disown you. So
yeah,
you know, where obviously the States are a little bit more forgiving, and I couldn't have that. I'd be like, no, mate. If it was my son, I'd be like, no. If you're an NFL fan, you're going to be the Commanders fan. If you're not, I'm going to slap you. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's exactly how it'd be.
And yeah, it leads on to a lot. But yeah, great question, though, Mike. Appreciate that. So, which will react worse, he says, our wives or our bank accounts when we're in the US mid-January and February, living every minute of our playoff run? What do you think? I think it's going to be my bank balance. Yeah.
No, I actually think it'd be the wife because...
Would you really? Wow.
Yeah, because that your bank balance is going to go down, which is going to make her griefy more. So she'll actually make it be like a double whammy. Do you know what I mean? So your bank balance is going down. House, you know what they're like. It's all about the cash in it. So if you haven't got the cash, if you're spending it all and you're spending it on her, she's going to be well pissed with you. Never mind going away. That's one thing, going away, being pissed, and then also spending the money on top of that. Yeah, the wife will be kicking your ass, mate.
No joint accounts on. All good, all good.
Yeah, well, smart. But the thing is, though, when you get home, though, you'll have no head. Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely right. I'd have no house.
She'll change
the locks will be changed.
Yeah. One of them will be game over.
Locks will be changed. The car will be crushed. Yeah, exactly. Oh dear.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All the clothes outside, thrown outside on the lawn. Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, cheers.
Does the East being so strong benefit us as it makes you battle hardened and ready to fight for every inch?
I think I think that's a valid point, and I think as the old saying says, it's iron sharpens iron. So you've got to be on your game when you play in our division. There's no easy games. Even when we've been shite and we've all been shite. A few years back, we were all god awful, and it was still ridiculously tough game against each other because it always is. It's in house. It's family business. Do you know what I mean? It's and obviously it's nice that now those three other teams are actually good sides. That is going to pull us up with them a little bit, to be fair. So I think 100%. And I think the only problem is injuries, but you should play at 100% intensity in every game. So it shouldn't really matter as such from that angle. But yeah, I do think that it's going to benefit us.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you to a point. I think that you're right with what you said there, Scout, in that you hope that having the other three teams being pretty good, I mean, you could argue the Giants and us between who would be third and fourth, I suppose, in that respect.
But they're going to be better again next year.
Yeah, of course they are. Every team gets better every year.
I like Dayball as well. So
I do too. I think he's a really good coach. But you have to think that, yes, you're right. They would probably pull us up by our bootstraps and say, you know what, we're going to be pulled up a little bit because of the competition that we've got there. But what I don't like about it is if the division is very strong, we end up with awful fixtures like we've got this year. So what should have been a fourth place schedule turns into what is technically the eighth worst schedule or eighth hardest schedule in the entire NFL.
Yeah, true.
How does that work?
Yeah. I don't understand the kind of the logic, but how they create those schedules. But for me, it's like, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Of course,
simple as that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're all in the game to win it all. and only one team can do it every year. So
yeah, nobody goes into pre-season today or into training camp saying, "Oh, you know what? We're just going to win the East and maybe back into a wild card spot." No, you're in there. Do you think Ron Rivera?
You want to win. You want to win every game. You want to win 17-0. You want to be a greatest. You want to be a legend. That's what these players want to be. They want to get paid. They want to get paid because you know that their career's short, and they want to win. It's as simple as that.
So, look at Eric Bieniemy coming across here. Why not Washington and that mantra, you know what I mean, that he brought to it? Great.
100%.
Do you think a guy like that who's come from an absolute winning culture, winning the Super Bowl, having 2 rings on his staff, being in a league NFL...
He's got more than that, he's been working for him for 10 years, 5 years as OC.
Okay, yeah. So how many Super Bowls have the Chiefs won? They've only won 2.
In the last 5 years?
They only won 2.
There's only 2. I thought it was 3. Okay, give me on.
But yeah, I mean, looking at it,
don't forget though, in 10 years though, it's been more.
Oh yeah,
more
exactly.
Than that,
that's what I'm saying. And then you think to yourself, you think to yourself, he's been around the league for so long. He's a former Heisman Trophy winner. He's the best one. He was a fantastic running back coming in. The guy's a born winner. He isn't going to leave that environment to say, "Oh well, I'll take a job at the Commanders." Because to be honest with you, if he came in as an OC and he just said, "I want an OC job," not the assistant head coach or anything like that, he could have gone to pretty much the pick of the team, wherever he wanted to go, and carried on. For whatever reason, we have obviously gone to him and said, "Yep, come here. There's potential for you to be the next head coach," which I'm sure in the back of his mind he knows that is the case. But he's come here, and when you come with that winning attitude, that is surely going to rub off on you. You don't come in here to go, "Oh, well, I'll do okay. I'll have a decent enough offense." No, he's a born winner, and he wants to win.
He wants to be the best. He said he wants to put his players in the best position to succeed. So playing to the players' strengths. So adapting his scheme for our players, for our skill set dudes. Whereas Scott Taylor was the opposite. It was, you fit into my system. And that's why it wasn't that good. That's why, we did okay in certain parts, but most of the time it was shit. Right? He's doing the other way around. He's got a completely different focus of like, look, man, I know what you're good at. I know what you're good at. I know what you're not so good at. I'm going to get you to be doing the things that you're good at.
Yeah.
And it sounds simple, but it's genius because that's what it takes, because we've got talent, we've got quality players. It's just
so if you take that Kansas City role and you look back at EB and what he's done there, for the first year, the offense totally ran through Tyreek Hill. Then Tyreek Hill went left. Then the offense ran through Travis Kelce. Then the offense ran through Mahomes and Kelce. And it was all about putting these people in the right moments and putting your best players in that position to succeed.
Scheming guys open in the red zone as well. I mean, how many times do you see like Pacheco getting in?
Yeah,
or,
Pacheco.
Or Pringle. Shit receivers like Pringle.
Yeah.
He's getting in. Juju Smith-Schuster as well.
Yeah, he was doing well. Kadarius Toney.
So
classic example.
Tony's
awful at the Giants. He comes into Kansas City. I know he didn't want to play for them, but he comes into KC and he's like, "Oh, I'm in a team that's been in the Super Bowl, that's won a Super Bowl as well."
And he toes the line.
Yeah.
He toes the line. It's the same thing what our dudes are doing with Bieniemy. They're toeing the line. They know they're going to get coached hard. You make a mistake, he's going to tell you a new one every single time. He's going to make you think, look, man, this is my responsibility to be in the right place at the right time. Whatever it is, if you receive it or even you're blocking out wide or whatever the hell it is, the scheme is that play call is, you better know what you're doing and you better be in the right place at the right time. And that accountability is definitely going to make us a much better offense this year, man.
I hope so.
I'm just scared of the offensive line, man. I just don't know. Don't know how good it's going to be. Like, because there's so many ifs on it. That's the only problem, man.
You're right. You are right. That is the problem. And then following on from that, really, in that positive mindset, when we win 12 games this season, will then the so-called experts on TV say they predicted this was all going to happen? Well, the answer is no, they shouldn't. They should.
But they always do, though, don't they?
Yeah.
They won't. No, when are they going to say, "I'm going to hit humble pie here, guys"? I didn't see it happening. When they all said it, like, "No, Adam Rankin is fucking whatever it was, 5 and whatever it was,"
5 wins.
5 wins season. Now, obviously, if we start to get anywhere near 12, then obviously we're going to be spoken about across the national media, which is what we want. We want to be seen again. We start seeing, hey, something's going on over there in Washington. That's what we want to. That's what we want to hear. So, but yeah, and you will see a few guys switch over because they always do. They always do. Yeah. They start.
Actually, Sam Howell was a first round pick when he first came out, and he was telling, "Piss off, piss off." We all need to do, right?
We told you Bieniemy was a winner, and all this shit.
If this happens and we have a season like that where we are talented, we know Sam Howell is the answer. He's steady. We're at the top end. We've got a top 15 offense. The defense is balling out. We're getting into the playoffs. If we're in that sort of scenario, that is the point where the fan base just has to troll every single one of these and just keep saying to them, "Told you so. Told you so."
Yeah.
And when they all start changing across and saying, "Oh, well, Washington, I knew they were sneaky, dark horse."
Yeah, dark horse.
No, you never. No, you never.
You didn't say shit, mate. You didn't say shit.
That's when we need to call these people out.
And we'll be there. I mean, you'd be there on the front lines on Twitter there going fucking...
Don't you worry about that.
Well, what I'll do is I'm going to find that Adam Rank's buddy 512 picture. I'm going to put that up and go, "Yeah, Rank, is that right?" Yeah.
Exactly. The Dan Orlovskis of the world. Oh, yeah. Shut up. Anyway.
He'll change his mind, him. Orlovsky does.
He will do, yeah. Should the UK podcast, should there be a UK podcast versus US podcast game arranged as an annual season opener?
What do you mean? As in playing NFL?
As in playing NFL, yeah. Or I can't play the game. Mate, we could do flag football.
Even flag football, we get destroyed.
I know.
You know what I mean? We don't play the game. They've played it for donkey's years.
What's going to happen here? I'm gonna be as a cornerback on Hall. I don't think so. I look like I'm like 15 stone, no chance. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely no way.
Madness, mate.
I get burnt to attack.
Everyone will be on burnt toast because we just never played the game. Just never played it. So I mean, I bet none of us can throw a ball properly like a quarterback can. Not even not even a bad quarterback, like just a decent spiral. You just won't see us be able to throw it like that. But we're not skilled in that area at all, man.
No, we are not.
We can talk it, but we can't do it. We're perfect with presenting. We're perfect with fucking being on the telly, even though the radio for our face.
Yeah, face for radio. That's what my mother said.
Face for radio.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just keep us on the radio, talk about the games. That's great. We can do that, but they're not playing them, mate. Shit.
All right, Scouts, that about wraps us up for the week. Thank you so much for being on with me, mate. I appreciate it. I know it is a tough time for everybody to be, doing podcasts when there's not a lot happening. Somehow we've managed to smash this one out again. So appreciate Aaron for what he did earlier, for coming on and giving us his time. You can find him on the Asleep at Work podcast. We'll shout him out at the end of this show. If you are on Twitter, have a look at our tweet that we put out when the show drops. And go and give him a follow. Thanks everyone again for putting their questions in, especially to Canada Mike there, who's put out about 15 questions. So cheers, mate. I really appreciate you doing that. And we'll be on same time next week. Not much more to talk about. Hopefully we'll have this round table that I know your brother Ian is clamoring for. I am being let down by the Philly guys, so we will get someone on somehow. The other two have agreed, so hopefully we'll get them on soon.
Good. Nearly there.
Thanks everyone, and we'll catch up with you soon. Take care.
Bye.